So I've lied a bit in the title of this because I don't have a cup of tea. This is a making tea video minus the tea. Now there's a very good reason for not having the tea. It's not actually that good of a reason. Basically, it's a Wednesday and I should be uploading this tonight for my Wednesday's upload if I get it edited in time in this small gap. My new timetable this time is crazy, and from Monday to now I've just been working super hard. My body, literally I can't describe how much my legs ache. If you're a dancer and you ever take a break off dance, like say for a month for Christmas, and you then go back to it and you do 5 hours in one day and you're doing bodycon and all this stuff, you will know my pain with my leg. I can't really walk downstairs, it really hurts. I've been in ensemble and acting and doing storytelling workshops today. That's very crucial to this story. I have already walked around and I'm tired, and so I can't be bothered, and my legs hurt too much to walk all the way downstairs to make a cup of tea to then film this, and the time I have to film this video and edit it is very, very small amount of time, so I'm just gonna get to it. So this is a making tea video in that I will be talking about a topic in the way I talk about them in my making tea videos. If you're new around here, then go check out my other making tea videos. I just chat shit at a camera while I make tea. This is about the importance of storytelling. I was prompted to do this because I literally have spent the last whole afternoon in storytelling workshops. Now we've done one of these before at uni as part of my course, because every Wednesday afternoon we do these things called masterclasses. So we have loads of different people come in and teach us different techniques and do loads of really, really fun stuff. These storytelling ones have always really stuck with me, purely because I've always been so drawn to storytelling, always been so interested in it. In my personal statement, I wrote an awful lot about storytelling. I might read you some of my personal statement in the least pretentious way possible, just to explain how I feel about it. I'm sorry if this is really cringy and pretentious, but this is what I wrote for my personal statement, which is better than anything that I could sort of like produce now to sort of describe why storytelling is important to me, why I think it's important to like my career. I'll skip out the bits that aren't relevant. Storytelling is, I believe, the most important and magical talent that we as humans possess. There's a distinct art to storytelling through words on a page or actions played out on stage. It is this captivating and wondrous form of storytelling that I find most spectacular. There's nothing better than losing yourself in a story, and I find no more effective way to do so than performing. It is nothing short of magical, becoming lost inside a character, completely and utterly submerged in another world. If I could string together a sentence to describe the sheer joy and happiness that singing, dancing and storytelling combined brings me, I can promise it'd be something brilliant to read. However, I don't think there are words that would suffice. Musical theatre isn't just about singing well or dancing with good technique or acting believably. It's about telling a story. It's about making the audience so captivated that they become lost in that world. And for me, it's about the feeling. Because nothing feels like standing on stage after months of work, looking out into the darkness, breathing, and then losing yourself completely. That's what I wrote in my personal statement, which was to get me into universities. If you don't know what personal statement is, basically you write about, that's obviously only a few chunks of it. You write about like what you've done in the past and why you think you'd be good for the course. Basically just selling yourself to the university. That's what I wrote to do musical theatre. That's one aspect of storytelling which is just really crucial to me, as you can see, because that's why I'm doing theatre. Like, that is the reason I'm doing theatre. And this workshop really brought all of that back to me, and we did these really fun things with like folk tales and stuff like that. What was really interesting to talk about was the impact storytelling has on our lives and what sets us apart from a dolphin or a dog or cats or ants. And the person that was teaching us said, I believe the thing that sets us apart from them is our ability to tell stories. This is something she just put out there for us all to think about. I know that I can talk about it here because I'm assuming a lot of my demographic, I guess, that watch these videos are into reading. Now, reading is something that I've always been super passionate about, something that's really just like basically saved my life on numerous occasions. You know, Harry Potter obviously, and that through reading, but there's millions of stories that I can pin to my childhood, and quite millions, but an awful lot. I've read a lot of books. I've read quite a lot of the classics and stuff, and some people would probably call me well read, but some people might not, and I'm trying to broaden my horizons with reading because there's just so much out there I want to know. But that sort of reading for education, and I feel like recently I've been very immersed in reading for education and feeling like I have to read for education. I have to read autobiography, I have to read an educational book that's going to tell me about the Greeks or whatever, things like that I feel like I need to do in order to broaden my general knowledge of life. However, I wondered why I'd suddenly assumed that reading fiction or reading children's books can't give me that outlook that I need and can't broaden my knowledge, because they can. The things that gave me my perspective on life that I have now, and I'm sure that reading has done the same for an awful lot of people around the world. It was just thinking about how we have this capability because we have words. Obviously other animals do communicate in their own ways, but we are very unique in the fact that we have words and we can communicate in this sort of really in-depth manner, and we can convey our emotions through our speech, and we can tell stories, we can talk about the past, we can make things up. We all went around the room and we had to say things about what we felt storytelling was, what we thought the importance of storytelling is, why we do it. A lot of people came out with entertainment. Some people said to remember. Something that I feel like I'm really captivated by at the moment, because I want to do more story times on this channel, and I watch a lot of YouTubers story times, and I know a lot of popular memes been going around at the moment with, like, you know, the clickbaity titles of YouTubers story times and then sort of like taking the piss of them. Fair enough, because it's quite funny. I think it's a really wonderful side of YouTube that started to spring up, is this storytelling. But something up until sort of, I've always seen storytelling as theatre and books, but what sort of was realised as a group today in my workshop, at least, I know I'm sort of keep going off on tangents, I'm trying to stick to one thing. What we realised today as a group is that storytelling isn't just about books. We engage in storytelling. I know a lot of people that I know wouldn't call themselves readers, and they say, oh no, stories, they're not for me. But yet we all sit around a table at night and we share stories about our past. And so through that we're telling stories, and every time someone gets emotionally invested in a show and the characters, that is being part of a story. And films, so we are literally surrounded by stories, and it was the idea as well that everything you do is a story. So the example that our guest tutor said today was, you know, you go down to the post office and you buy stamps, and you're telling a story by doing that. You're walking down the street. Who are you buying stamps for? You've got something to do. You've got a package to send. You've got a letter to send. You've written a letter. And it's all these little things, and, you know, our whole lives are a story. Now, I really struggle with sort of like existentialism, and not the theory, it just makes me stressed. And I really love learning about everything. I really enjoy watching videos about philosophy and things like that, and reading books about that kind of thing, even though it makes me stressed out. And something I really struggle to do a lot is remember that I'm a real person and that this is a real life that's happening to me, because I feel like I've spent so much of my time in stories that I tend to kind of think, well, this is just another one. I don't really know where I'm going with this video, but I just think it's important to think about stories, because I think we just sort of forget that it's one of those things that we are really lucky to be able to do. It's important to just really appreciate how much we can learn through stories, and it's not even necessarily books, because I feel like there can be this sort of elitist ideology when it comes to storytelling. If people are like, oh, well, I read all these books, and people that aren't into reading will like, well, I don't like books, so that means I can't enjoy stories, that means you're excluding me from this. But it's not. Storytelling is one of the most inclusive things. When we were going around the room and talking about it, it was about, people were saying we tell stories to form connections, we tell stories to form bonds with people and to build relationships, because we do. You know, when I first met the people in my flat, we didn't know anything about each other, and now we know so much about each other, because as we sit in a kitchen of an evening, we talk about stories and things that have happened to us, and the way we tell them, whether we make it funny or we make it serious, it builds that relationship with a person because you become closer to them. And I guess that's sort of really the essence of storytelling. You know, I've always loved theatre because of the storytelling and because I liked telling stories, and that's why I'm surprised it's taken me so long on this channel to really designate actual time to doing stories. I guess I never figured anything in my life was interesting enough to talk about. While I'm on the topic of story time, because I did sort of my first story time video the other day, which I posted, my Friday the 13th special upload, which was my primary school experience story. Now, a lot of YouTubers probably do their story times for views. I'm not saying all YouTubers, because I know people do it for like for serious reasons, but sometimes it's just a funny story. It's just one of those things that you know people are going to click on, they're going to watch. I did that story just because by telling it, I feel like I've got a more honest relationship with viewers. I don't know if that sounds really cringy or weird, but I guess it just makes me feel like I have more of a deeper connection, and people that watch my videos aren't just getting this one side of me, because I like to be able to be open, and I like to know I can just post things here. It was weird, but I got this really weird catharsis from telling that story, and it felt really good, and it was nice because I got the most amazing response from it, and everyone was so lovely in their response. I couldn't have, like, literally, I was really happy with how just everyone was being lovely, and it was just really made me feel happy. I watched it back and people were like, it's a really serious story and I feel terrible, but like it was really funny. And I never really considered myself a funny person, but storytelling and writing fiction was always something I was relatively good at as a kid. It was like my one skill, like I said in that video. And I find I can tell stories in a way that I don't know, like I was watching it back and I was like, oh, you told that in a way that was actually like comprehensible, like people could understand it. And today in class we had to get up and we did all these different like improvs and stuff. And I did an improv where I was playing the character of Death from The Tale of Three Brothers in Harry Potter. But in my brain, I made Death this funny character who had been passed down the role of Death from Death before, and they had taken this bear from a kid who was the first person they ever killed. And I made it a funny character and people were laughing. And I never considered myself a funny actress before. I've always been very serious. And I do serious realism work probably better than I do, well, better than I ever assumed I would do comedy. I didn't have any time to think about this character, I just did it. And my natural instinct was, oh, well, I'm doing Death. I already knew I was doing Death, so I assumed it would be serious. But the first thing that came out of me was humour. And and people actually laughed. So, I don't know, I think all of it seems to just come back to storytelling. So I feel like there's a lot of signs, but I feel like storytelling is what I'm supposed to do in life. I feel like I was put here and a lot of things have happened to me that I can talk about, and I make up a lot of things, not stuff that I pretend is real. I make up a lot of stories that I write, and sometimes when I'm bored, stories just sort of like come to me and I think of them and I expand on them, and I just really like doing it. And I love telling stories. I love having a room. Sounds really pretentious and like very stagey, but I love it when I'm telling a story and the whole room's listening and they're captivated by what I'm saying. It doesn't happen often, but if that ever does happen, it is a very addictive feeling for me. That is probably me just feeding my ego, but I'm not saying I'm an amazing storyteller or anything like that, but I like the feeling of telling a story, having people really enjoy it. So it's just really weird, and I feel like we all just need to tell more stories to each other and really think about storytelling as a real device for connecting people. I guess. I don't really know where this video is going, it just felt like it needed to be said, but that is what 99% of my making tea videos are. So I just thought it's something I really wanted to touch on and talk about, plus I didn't have anything to upload today. I want to film a Sherlock review video because it was insane, and I'm just gonna put it out there, I loved it, I thought it was a perfect end, but I will film like a separate review video when I do have the time, hopefully this weekend. But as I say, I'm back at uni, so life has just been absolutely mental. But thank you so much for your support, everyone. If you want to see more story time, comment below and ask for them. I have a bunch of stories. Some of them I feel like are maybe borderline not appropriate for this channel. I don't know. It depends. Do you want to see everything? Like I'm happy to tell you everything, but if you do want to know everything, then I'll make them. If you're interested in those, then leave it down in the comments, and any other video suggestions, drop them below. I know I promised I'd do a Q&A today, and I have all the questions on my Instagram post, which I'll probably be filming for my Saturday upload if that's what you guys want on Saturday. I have like a backlog of ideas of things that I want to do and a bunch of story times already planned out that aren't filmed, so I'm going to try and get them done, and I'm going to keep uploading Wednesdays and Saturdays up to my schedule. So be sure to turn on my little notification bell so you get a notification and be part of the notification squad when you watch my videos early, and give this video a like and subscribe if you're new around here. Anyway, thanks. Bye.